Wow, you look nice. Pink hair.
You,
All right, you're good to go.
what if in high school you were offered a chance to take a class that taught you how to save money, budget future bills, and create more? Do you think things will be different for you? In America, people from low-income families, some with you not so easy to break parents so by personal finance, creating a struggle for many living check to check, becoming a different individual from bad credit and student loans. In a world that revolving around money, it will appear that knowing the ins and outs of financial stability in all forms, they will have less stress and be more successful. Many people learn this value information as they grew up, transitioning from their teen years into adulthood, which always takes some time to get the hang of. Even then, most people won't know every crucial detail there is about personal finance. Creating some faults and holes in the path to succeed, also making it difficult to pass on the skills to your children. Nearly 40% of the children in the United States living in low-income families. This results in the continuing of bad financial habits by default. Having this knowledge will create a very different perspective for yourself as you graduate high school. Continue on in life, no matter where it takes you. The only problem that is personal finance is not offered to be taken. We ask ourselves while learning geometry, will I ever actually need this after high school? Well, when it comes to personal finance, the answer is definitely yes. Today, my group and I will be explaining to you all why we believe personal finance should be offered in high school. But first, I will share with you some personal experience. I grew up in a family that always struggled with money. This always created a problem for us. I had to get a job at an early age and put aside some school activities in order to help my family. I also, while I get older, I myself struggle with saving money and starting credit. If my high school would have offered a personal finance class, I would definitely have taken it. I know I will have benefit from it. Next, Sakura will discuss the main issue of the problem.
The last year of high school, I had the fortunate opportunity to take half a year of personal finance. Even with all the personal finance I learned during that half year, I still was not prepared enough for when I turned 18 and started working. I didn't learn, for example, how to file taxes or invest in the right stocks. Personal finance deals with anything related to money and yourself. Will Kenton defines this term effectively when he writes for Investopedia on January 25th, 2021. Personal finance is a term that covers managing your money as well as saving and investing. It encompasses budgeting, insurance, mortgages, investments, retirement planning, tax, and estate planning. Personal finance can range from writing checks to paying your taxes, activities that are or will be present in your life. Personal finance is an essential life skill that should be taught in high school. However, it isn't, and this has led to quite a few problems. Let me first give you a personal story of how I suffered from an education lacking in personal finance. I just filed my taxes for the first time this year, and I sadly used TurboTax. One of the tricks TurboTax plays on consumers is offering a premium version of their tax filing service, so the consumer can get back more on their tax returns. I paid for this version, and only a few weeks later, I found out that the IRS has a free tax filing service that offers the same benefits that TurboTax Premium offers, but for free. For example, it offers returns on childcare, student loans, house loans, etc. A simple Google search of IRS file your federal taxes online for free will bring up the IRS's free tax filing service. A high school course in personal finance would have taught me these tips like these, so I could best manage my funds. But the lack of personal finance taught in our education does not only have a negative effect on people like me, it has an effect on all our young people in the world. One of the detrimental effects of the absence of personal finance in our education is that young people go into debt. Since children are not taught how to most effectively use their money, they go into debt when they make bad decisions, which they do frequently. According to Liz Frazier, writing for Forbes on August 29, 2019, millennials are starting their career with a combined 1.52 trillion in debt. Students are coming out of college have more crippling student loans than ever. They are spending years trying to pay them off, which means they are saving less than they could. 38% of US households have credit card debt. While some debt like mortgages or student loans can be considered good debt, credit cards are most definitely not. Many students take out loans for college that can exceed $100,000 without even breaking a sweat. This is because taking out massive loans for college is so commonplace nowadays. Students think that taking loans is the only option you have if you want to go to a good college. So they just take out a loan without thinking of the consequences of those loans in the future. Many of these same people are still paying off their loans 3 or 4 years later after they graduate because of how deep they are in debt. Students also frequently go into credit debt because they don't understand the dangers of debt. Credit card companies constantly advertise the benefits of their credit cards to high schoolers without describing the dangers of them. According to Latoya Irby, writing for The Balance on July 19, 2019, 1 in 4 college students leave college with more than $5,000 in credit card debt. A TrueCredit.com study shows 1 in 10 leaves with over $10,000 in debt. When you're just graduating college, getting your first real job, and trying to make it on your own, credit card debt is the last thing you want to worry about. Without personal finance being taught in high school, these high schoolers sign up for credit cards blindly, and more often than not, they reap the consequences of late payment or overdrafting. If financial responsibility was taught in high school, these children would learn the importance of handling and dealing with money. The solution to this next point will be discussed by my group member and the solution to this problem.
Hi. So Zachary described that really well. And now that we've discussed the problem, let us talk about the impact this education can have if acquired at the right time. So offering such classes and courses that teach these young students in high school to handle their money goes a long way in their life. And I cannot emphasize this enough. Many of these students are going to become future homeowners. They're also going to become owning vehicles and that they have to purchase under their own names. All of these financial purchases do not occur overnight. In order to have all of these facilities, one must be able to have a consistent good credit score. So let me ask a couple of questions. What builds a good credit score? A person who probably was educated in personal finance in high school could easily answer that question, but majority of the students have not, like myself, been educated and have certainly struggled after high school by learning these terms and how things work in the real world. So a good credit score is built based on paying bills in time, keeping your balance low, and just having financial organization. If we break it down to the basics, maintaining a great credit score requires reasonable purchases, saving money, and also knowing your budget. This is only possible by being educated about personal finance before college. While many people say that students can learn this information in college, I believe personally that it should be taught before college, because once you're in college, you're basically in the real world. Your people are getting college student loans. You know, they're moving out. They have to have all this. They need to plan out their budget and how they're going to survive the next 4 years of their life. So, according to statistics, according to the Forbes magazines, 92% of people believe that personal finance education should be taught before college, whereas only 5% of Americans believe personal finance education should be learned in college. So these statistics are quite evident that the majority of Americans want the students to be educated on personal finance planning prior to starting college. We can understand that the 5% of Americans want students to be educated on this topic once they enter the real world. However, what they do not understand is that once these students do enter the real world, they need to realize that money touches everything. Hence, it's very important for them to realize that this is a very important and underrated period where students are going to be educated on personal finance before stepping into the real world. Having education on this topic will allow students to better maintain their budget during and post completion of college. This will also teach them how to manage loans, file taxes, and most importantly, to complete the 4 years of college while maintaining their budget. So speaking from personal experience, when I graduated high school, I applied for a credit card, and I noticed and I heard of people, like I wanted to get my own first car, and everyone had, I noticed my dad had a really excellent credit score all his life. And once I got my first score available, and I came to see that it was not the best, and I was in a dilemma on realizing why, like what I can do, but I needed to realize that, like there's a certain like process, it builds up over time. So all of these things like should be taught before, because I was, like really worried back in the day. And like Zach mentioned, that there's a lot of, like he talked about the taxes, that if all this is taught before, then, you cannot get possibly scammed. And yeah, over to Christina.
So the results of personal finance being offered during high school and to young adults benefit them in their inevitable upcoming future of going on to an adult. The classes concerning economics taught at most high schools are not sufficient enough to prepare these young adults to do fundamental duties used to operate in society. This is more than enough proof that highlights how the education plans needs to change, to which the requirement of skill sets involving being taught how to save money, budget future bills, build credit, and more is taught to these oncoming young adults. This would result in only helping students and young adults map out their upcoming life and being independent. Like myself and the majority of my group mates, we have come to the conclusion that our own personal experience with finance is quite non-existent. My last year of high school, before going into lockdown mode because of COVID, I got to take a one-part government, one-part economics class where I learned about economics and how it's about the micro and macroeconomics of supply and demand and its policies. But that had nothing to do with learning how to budget your money, build credit, and etc. Originally, I thought the mandatory class would involve those subjects. Furthermore, I thought I would be more prepared for my own personal finance after taking it, but I was not. After high school, when I moved out of my parents' house and realized that tax season was coming up, I didn't even bother to think that it was important for myself to file my own taxes just yet because, well, I honestly had no idea how. This impacted me later on, and I greatly regret not doing them. I think about how if I acquired the knowledge of filing my taxes during high school, how much trouble that would have saved me now. However, there are certain reasons why such courses are not offered. A 2019 article by Hank Coleman called "Why It's a Mistake Teaching Financial Literacy in School" suggests teachers feel unqualified to teach financial literacy, says a Julie Health, director of the Economics Center and economics professor at the University of Cincinnati. The article goes on to explain that 82% say that they are not prepared to teach these concepts, even as over 90% of them think they need to be taught in schools. So even though if we had these courses concerning personal finance, the teachers themselves do not even feel comfortable teaching the subject. But that is evidence enough to show that we need a change, and it starts with the teachers getting the training and knowledge to teach personal finance. Nothing can be done if it does not start with the top of the food chain of education to change the conduct of the education plan itself. If a good education plan regarding personal finance was established, the benefits are resourceful. The skill sets acquired from the result of learning personal finance include balancing a checkbook, setting up a budget, coming out of high school and being able to actually pay for your college, which makes things all the more less stressful. You acquire a set of life skills, such as grocery shopping and running other errands. And it even aids in investing, long-term financial planning, and how to pay for utilities. So learning them early on would result in a better transition into your whole adult life, basically. Now that I've spoken about the results of personal finance being taught in high school and the upcoming of young adults, next, my group member Hazel will conclude our speech.
Yes, as we discussed about financial finance to be teach in high school time. Yes, and summing up, I think all the people should be taught about financial finance in them. as much as earlier in this, the earlier the better, I want to say. Because if they know about how to manage the money, it will be benefit to them. Even if everyone has a different financial difficulties, knowledge will never be waste. Although the subject is hard to learn, and knowing something is better than nothing. At least we can avoid making wrong decisions, and the student will know how to avoid student loan debt. If they cannot avoid the taking out of the student loan, they have to know how to save more money than they owed. Yes, saving money is better than none. All people know that saving habits are good, but only a few people know how to save. Is it the best way to save money in the bank, or will investing in the stock lead to better result? On the other hand, no matter how we save, we still need to use money to cover our daily expenditure. Do you know what expenditure can be reduced and what expenditure cannot? Some expenditures such as rent, utility bill, and insurance premium are unavoidable. That means you can't save, you have to use it. Some expenditures such as drinking beer, eating cheesecake, and buying unnecessary cosmetic are avoidable costs. We buy unnecessarily. Like me, I already have 4 pairs of shoes for work, but I bought an extra one because of the discount attraction. That advertisement tell me buy one get one free, and I bought it. So it is unnecessary purchase. After I make a purchase, I feel regret. If I save the money from my buying unnecessary shoe, the amount of money will be saved. Only avoidable available costs can save. I hope at least this concept can be taught to the younger students. This is the basic concept of preparing personal budget. The more they know, the more they can save for their future. This is why personal finance is essential life skill that young adult to high school, young adult from high school student to the college student should be taught in to promote financial literacy.